to analyze the team, and then he's got to make the right decisions after analyzing the team. And somehow Chiarelli didn't do that with Taylor Hall. What you hope is that at the end of the day, Billy looks at this and decides, like, look, is Greenway going to be the guy we thought he was, or is he not? Is Fiala going to be the guy that we thought he was, and not Cunnin, whoever? And he's going to have to make those tough decisions, and we'll see. But you've got to give him that time to do that, or you could have a Taylor Hall situation. I mean, could you imagine if he just tomorrow woke up and decides, you know what, I think it's time to break this thing apart. I'm going to trade Dumba. And next thing you know, Dumba's the next Brent Burns. I mean, you got to let him take the time to learn this team. I know that's difficult for fans, and I know that fans sometimes just don't seem to understand that. I see it. You know, I every day on Twitter, what's taking so long? How long do you expect? I mean, just give him time and it'll happen. And you got to give him that time. Unfortunately for Paul, we gave him, he was given that time, and then he made 3 awful trades. So you hope is that still after that time that Billy makes the right decisions. So,
hello, how are you?
Hi.
Hey, Julie.
Hey, I was just wondering. I know we talked about last year that the Wild had a lot of babies and stuff. I was just wondering if you knew anything about if this is going to be another baby year.
Future kids on the way? No, I think they're all taking a break. No, I honestly don't know. I haven't asked around. These 2.5 weeks the tongue-in-cheek line in my story today that I meant completely was that when I said that 2.5 weeks, this felt like 2.5 months. This has been the strangest 2.5 weeks ever, and everybody has been uptight. That's why I keep on writing. It feels like last season has bled into this season. And so this has just not been the year yet that I've felt comfortable enough to just go hang out by a guy's stall and shoot the crap. Shoot the Sorry, Father.
Yeah, I was raised Catholic, and you can't say crap in front of a
I was going to say, then I decided to go to crap, and then I just completely screwed up.
That's one of the
everything.
7 deadly words, isn't it?
So, yeah.
It's been a show of awkward silences, and I just like letting Mike marinate.
Brandon, how much does that like?
Does
that like you had the easiest night ever, and now it's like, God, I got to go home, and now okay. Sometimes you see, so like Dusty Peterson, the Wild videographer, you could tell the times that we're on the road when he just like, all right, he's like praying that everything goes smoothly, so he could just dump the video on Twitter or Wild.com, and then just go out and have a beer, and then like something inevitably happens, like either a curse word or Bruce will make fun of Dan Myers or something, where all of a sudden you're just like you see Dusty's like, oh my God, now I got to edit this whole thing. So I felt like that's what just happened to Brandon. Brandon had all these dinner plans, and now he's got to go home. So,
hi there. After our second or third loss of the season, our local sports station said that Boudreau should be worrying about his job. Should he be?
I mean, I don't think so, or not right now. I think that he was always going to have his job being on the line, at least publicly, with any outlet, just based on the fact that he's in his last year of his deal. But I wrote this last week, and I think everybody knows how much I like, respect, and have a really good relationship with Bruce. So I don't mean this in a callous way, but he might just have to go down with the ship this year. And what I mean by that is, if I'm Bruce, if I'm Billy Guerin, and I don't think that this team is a cup contender, let alone maybe a playoff contender. If he really believes that, what is the purpose of firing the coach? Like, say you end this season and you got the second or third best odds for the lottery, and firing a coach is just going to allow you to get 10 more points and have the 7th or 8th best odds. What is the purpose of that? So, again, I feel bad saying this, but you almost just, if I'm Billy, I just let this thing play out, let Bruce... unless Billy knows like that, I want that guy right there as my coach. To me, it makes no sense. Let the season end, and then you make a decision on Bruce whether or not you brought him back. And then if you decide that Bruce isn't the guy that you want coming back, then at least you have a bigger pool of candidates, and you could take your time to interview somebody rather than making a rash decision right now. So again, to me, the only way Bruce's job is on the line, especially with the lack of a sure thing interim coach sitting in the organization, to me it makes sense to just wait. So that's just my opinion. I mean, he could be fired tomorrow. Who knows? This is the NHL, but I just don't see the purpose in it.
counterpoint would be...
Don't say the St. Louis Blues.
No.
Okay.
Counterpoint...
Because that's the type of thing that makes my head just explode.
No, this team is not as good as the St. Louis Blues.
Right, and remember, the other thing is, like, with respect to Mike Yeo, they were crap for 6 weeks after the Mike Yeo firing. Mm-hmm. It's when they got Jordan Binnington that they turned things around. It was the goalie. It was not Mike Yeo. Now, I mean, that's just a fact. It's like, here's a great example. When Ken Hitchcock was fired in St. Louis, Jake Allen had like an .850 save percentage. Mike Yeo comes up, and all of a sudden Jake Allen magically had a .950 save percentage and upset the Wild in the first round. It's goaltending in that situation. That team is a good team, but they've had Jake Allen issues. So,
yeah, my counterpoint was if the team had continued to play at really an unprofessional level.
Right.
And hadn't shown any life the last game, and that continued, and it looked like...
Then you might have no choice.
Then you might have to fire just so you're telling your fan base, we care, and we actually do want to put a professional product
on. Like if the Wild lost last night and then lost to the Oilers, go to Nashville, lose, come home to L.A., lose, and now they're like 1-10 going into November.
At some point, it doesn't matter if it's the coach's fault or not. You have to do something.
And look, it might still, as you just asked, I mean, I'm saying this as of right now. If in a month from now they're still god-awful and they're getting 5,000 people a game and fans are just going crazy, you might have to make a move just to do something. But I personally don't think it, like, to me, this is the year. If it happens naturally, not a tank, if it happens naturally and they finish with the second or third worst record in the league and give themselves those type of odds, this is the year to be able to go get a stud. There are 6 or 7 really good players at the top of this draft. So I wouldn't want Billy to do anything to ruin that if this team is destined for that.
So remember, Tin Shed has an extensive menu if you come out, or if you want to order online, go to tinshedmn.com. We also have a deal with Bite Squad. If you don't live near Tin Shed, if you can't just come down here and get good food, you can order at Bite Squad. Use the promo code TALKNORTH, one word, to get your first delivery fee waived. Also go to bitesquad.com and check out whatever deals they might have in your area, including their members deal. So use the promo code TalkNorth, then just keep using TalkNorth after that. They've been supporting, Bite Squad. Use Bite Squad after that, and they've been supporting our program for a long time. What, another goal?
I'm watching Nathan McKinnon dance and beat Binnington, coincidentally. That guy, he's just so good.
So thanks to Bite Squad, bitesquad.com. Use the Bite Squad app. Yes, sir.
A Colorado power play.
So I'm going to give you a positive question. So Tony Abbott wrote a little bit today in The Athletic about Marcus Foligno and what he brings defensively to the Wild. And it just seems like whenever you have quotes from Foligno, they always seem very insightful too.
Oh, yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what he brings to the team from a leadership standpoint?
I can't believe you asked this question, Brett. I was just on the way driving here talking to somebody that works for the Columbus Blue Jackets.
Thanks for the question.
And I was just talking about Foligno to this guy. And he was telling me about Nick Foligno and everything that he does for that team and how he says no to nothing. I said that right. Says no to nothing. In other words, he does everything for the Blue Jackets. Like, I can't even speak with clarity.
At this point, why start now?
Just from a captain standpoint, the stuff that he does for that team, I just think that we're seeing him mature as he's grown into his role here. If you remember the first year, the quotes in that story I got from Bruce today, but if you remember when he first got here, Bruce didn't know what he was all about. He played him in the fourth line, didn't trust him, didn't put him on the penalty kill. And then all of a sudden last year he got on the penalty kill, got into a role, and his ice time has gotten appreciably better in the last 3 years. He still is what he is. I mean, he's not a top 6 forward, but what Bruce is trying to do this year is use that fourth line or that third line when Foligno was on it the last 4 or 5 games leading up to last night in a shutdown role, because I think he realizes that Koivu is not the player that he could put in that situation on an every night basis anymore based on his age coming off a torn ACL. And he was trying to use Eriksson Ek as the center in that role to develop him in the future into being potentially the heir apparent to Koivu. So this has been the plan all along, and it's because he's felt Foligno could work really well there. But the thing is with Foligno, when he is insightful when you get him in the locker room, and even from how he's grown with Bruce, it took us as beat writers a couple of years to realize that. All of a sudden we're getting Foligno even last year, and we're just like, wait a minute, what? This has been here for the last 2 years? This really smart, engaging guy. We all knew he was funny, great quote, all that stuff. But it was just, I don't know. He is. I still think he makes a little too much for what he brings to the team, but he is. If this continues, Billy will actually have a huge decision to make here on what to, if you're going to continue to bring him back, because he's important on this team. He's their most physical player, heck of a penalty killer. I will say that was a big issue coming into this season when Paul was still here, is that, Paul wanted Greenway to start killing penalties and essentially wanted Foligno off the penalty kill, and it was a debate between the coach and the GM on that one, because Foligno, the Wild had the 7th best PK last year, and only 7th best because they were so bad at the beginning of the year. Probably could have finished higher if they didn't. They had to do a lot of chasing of that stat all year long, and a lot of it was because they had Foligno and Eric Ferrer as the first 2 guys. But I like what Bruce is doing this year. He's got Greenway on the penalty kill. He's got Cunnin on the penalty kill. So he's trying to give everybody on the team roles. If you're not on the power play, you're on the penalty kill. For the most part. Obviously there's going to be the odd guy, Jerry Mayhew, Victor Rask, people like that. They tried Rask on the power play in Toronto and Montreal. That didn't work. Toronto, not Montreal. He was hurt that game. But what's up?
We should have a couch for people who come up here before you get on a roll.
It's a good thing there's a post there.
Yeah, it's true.
Oh, yeah, I use it. So 2 things.
There are license plates in here, too. First time I noticed
Observant.
that. Yeah.
So this is another comment and a question for the Wild who listened to your podcast went to the home opener and completely underwhelmed by the game ops that they said they tweaked and were going to make better.
Overwhelmed or underwhelmed?
Underwhelmed.
Okay, sorry.
Underwhelmed.
I honestly had like a little pop in my ear. That's why I didn't hear it.
So I was underwhelmed. So I'm curious your thoughts on that, because I actually thought last year's home opener was better. But then another positive question for you, because the Wild beat me to the punch. They put Hunt and Dumba together on the power play and Spurgeon Suter. What do you think of that?
Well, when they made the actual change of Suter playing with Spurgeon, all of a sudden they had to make a decision there, because then you're really going to mess up with your D pairs coming out of special teams if you didn't do it like this. But I love it. And this is something, I'm not even kidding. I don't want to try to make myself like I gave the idea, because I don't know if Bruce ever remembered it. But at the beginning of the year, I asked why he doesn't do that. To me, it's enough for Suter there. What I like about Hunt is also they're both great passers. Suter's a good passer too. But Suter, how many times do we see him not connect on that one-time pass? And to me, it makes Dumba a lot more lethal having Hunt put him there. And last night was the perfect example of why having the two of them together is a great move. Dumba gets that puck. Everybody, including the goalie, thinks that Dumba's shooting that puck. And he sells the shot and then makes a perfect one-time pass to Hunt, who had the entire left side of the net to shoot at, because there wasn't even a screen there. And it's because everybody overloaded to Dumba's side. And to me, if you're going to have a power play that's so predictable that everybody knows the one option when Dumba is to let him shoot, to me, it's make sure that you have that guy on the right side be a shooter and not Suter, who, when you know that if Dumba's not going to shoot and he goes back to Suter's not shooting. So to me, it works. And we saw it last night. And I like the changes too. I like the fact getting Zucker on that number 1 unit. So last night was, I think, a good example of power play tweaks that actually worked. So Brad Hunt, this guy,
he's fun to watch.
Yeah, he is. He's so exciting. He hates talking about himself too today. He was the story in practice today, and just it's funny watching the other reporters try to get quotes out of him. I just stood on the back, because I've been working on this. Not to give away a story that I'm working on that's going to appear in the next couple of weeks, but since October 4th, I sat down with Brad in Denver, and I haven't run it yet because the team's been so in the tank, pun intended. But I've been working on how it's humanly possible that a guy that of his size and Dumba's size and these guys, from a physics standpoint, could have the shot that they have. You see, they're not Zdeno Chara at 6'9", and so I'm glad I got Hunt alone on that one, because he was really good, where today it's just he doesn't like talking about himself, and it's just so funny. You can just see, I don't know if it's nerves or humility, but it was funny today. He didn't like being the center of attention in practice.
We're going to run through a couple Twitter questions from Nikolai with Guerin taking his time to look at the team, but the team can